Hey there, coin hunters and pocket change pros. Have you ever flipped a quarter to make a decision and then realized you might have just tossed away nearly 2 million bucks? Yeah, me neither, until I found out about this coin. Today we're talking about a quarter that looks just like any other you might have rattling around in your car's cup holder. But this one's a 2001 Kentucky State quarter with a current value sitting pretty at $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. One quarter. 18 million cents. That's more than most folks' houses. Now, before you go raiding your couch cushions or hijacking your grandma's change jar, hang tight. I'm gonna break it all down for you: what makes this coin so valuable, how to spot one, and a little story about the time I nearly lost my mind over a coin. Spoiler alert, it involved a metal detector, a swamp, and a very confused raccoon. This is the 2001 Kentucky State Quarter, part of the 50 State Quarters program launched by the U.S. Mint. Each state got its own special quarter, and in 2001, Kentucky got its turn. Now the design shows Federal Hill, the historic home of the guy who wrote My Old Kentucky Home. It's a beautiful design with a horse in the foreground, because let's be honest, Kentucky loves its horses more than most people love their kids. Now what makes this particular quarter, the one with the Denver Mint mark, the little D under the date, worth a whopping $1.8 million, it all comes down to rarity and error. Most of the 2001 Kentucky quarters are worth face value. You can still buy a hot dog with them. But a very small number were struck with a minting error, so rare it makes Bigfoot look like your next door neighbor. We're talking about a double strike off-center with a rotated die, and in some cases, a slight misalignment that gives the design a ghost-like appearance. Now here's where it gets juicy: this rare error wasn't caught right away. A few of these coins slipped into circulation like stealthy little millionaires hiding in plain sight. One of them, in pristine condition with full luster and almost no contact marks, was graded by a top-tier grading company and later auctioned off for a staggering $1.8 million. And no, the buyer wasn't just bad at math. That coin is truly one of a kind. Known examples, just a handful. Check your change. No, seriously. This isn't a joke. People toss quarters into jars, vending machines, even parking meters without a second glance. You never know where the next $1 million coin is hiding. Get yourself a magnifying glass. Not one of those cheap toy ones. I'm talking about a real one with at least 10x magnification. You'll want to inspect the coin's rim, look for any signs of doubling, and examine the alignment of the images. Learn how to recognize high-grade coins. Look at the fields, the devices, the luster. If it looks beat up, chances are it's not the jackpot. But if it looks like it just rolled out of the mint, start doing your happy dance. And if you're wondering how I got into this crazy coin game, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was walking through a flea market, not looking for coins, mind you. I was hunting for old baseball cards, maybe a decent vinyl record or two. I passed by a table run by this old guy wearing suspenders and humming Johnny Cash. He had a shoebox full of random coins, everything from wheat pennies to Canadian nickels, and now, I don't know what made me stop, but something about that box just called to me. Like Indiana Jones being pulled to a dusty old artifact. I dug through it and found a shiny Kentucky quarter. I looked it over and thought, hey, that's cool. Bought it for $1, took it home, forgot about it for 2 years. Then one day I was watching a coin video like this one, and bam. They showed the 2001 Kentucky era coin. I nearly choked on my pretzels. I ran to my drawer, found the coin, and started examining it like Sherlock Holmes with caffeine jitters. Turns out it wasn't the rare one. But it lit the fire. And I've been hunting ever since. Let me tell you, there is no thrill quite like finding a coin that might be worth more than your car, your TV, and your dog combined. Well, maybe not the dog. Now back to the facts. If you do think you've found one of these error coins, here's what to do next: do not clean it. Never. Even if it looks like it's been living in a swamp, leave it be. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Get it authenticated, ensure it, brag about it relentlessly. And maybe take your friends out to dinner, after you cash in. So there you have it, folks. The humble 2001 Kentucky State Quarter. A coin that could be chilling in your change tray right now, with a value of $1.8 million. Coins like these are why I always say, never ignore your pocket change. Your next coffee run quarter might just pay off your mortgage. If you enjoyed this video, and if you're now furiously checking every coin you come across, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Tap that little bell so you don't miss out on future videos packed with coin tips, crazy stories, and strategies to make your coin collection work for you. Trust me, this is just the beginning. We've got pennies worth thousands, nickels with secret errors, and dimes that'll make your jaw drop. And hey, if you ever do find one of these rare quarters, drop me a comment. I want to hear all about it. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you actually looked at your change? No, seriously, not just grabbed it and shoved it in your pocket, but really looked. Because if you've got a 1994 P Washington quarter laying around, you might just be sitting on over $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. 1.1 million bucks. From a quarter. A single coin. You're at the gas station, handing over a few coins for a coffee, and you unknowingly give away a 1994 P quarter that's worth more than a beach house. That's the stuff of nightmares, my friends. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1994 P Washington quarter. We'll break down why this little coin is turning heads in the collecting world, what to look for, and how you can score big if you find one. And stick around, because I'll be sharing a hilarious story about how I almost gave away a valuable coin for a slice of gas station pizza. True story. So grab your change jar, get comfy, and let's talk about how 25 cents could flip your entire life upside down. Alright, so let's start with the basics. The 1994 P Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. You'll know it's from Philly by the tiny little letter P on the right side of George Washington's ponytail. Now, this isn't some ultra-rare mintage like a one-off commemorative. They made millions of these quarters, but here's the twist: not all 1994 P quarters are created equal. A small handful were struck with such unique errors and perfect conditions that they become worth serious money to collectors. We're talking pristine condition, mint state, near flawless surfaces, and in some cases, striking errors that make them one of a kind, the crown jewel of the bunch. A 1994 P quarter graded MS-68 that sold at auction for over $1.1 million, let that sink in. A 25-cent coin that sold for enough to buy a sports car, a small yacht, or pay off your mortgage and still have money left for snacks. So what makes this coin so valuable? Well, there are a few factors. Let's break it down. We're talking mint state 68 or higher. That's coin collector speak for basically flawless. No scratches, no scuffs, no pocket lint fuzz stuck to the rim. This kind of coin didn't live in a cashier's drawer. It lived in a case. In a vault. Possibly wrapped in velvet and sung to sleep every night. Some of the rarest 1994 P quarters have weird striking errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or issues with the rim. One even had a misaligned die that gave it this ghostly double image of George Washington. Spooky and valuable, there might be millions of 1994 P quarters out there, but the number that exist in that top grade with perfect preservation? Tiny. Teeny tiny. That's what makes collectors foam at the mouth. They'll fight tooth and nail for the cleanest, rarest example. Now here's the part that really lights a fire under your coin jar: that 1994 P quarter that went for over $1 million? It sold through a high-profile auction. The coin was graded by PCGS, that's the professional coin grading service, and it came in at a stunning MS-68. That kind of grade is super rare for a coin that old and that circulated. Today, if you have a 1994 P quarter that's in exceptional condition, even if it's not MS-68, you could still be looking at hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. The coin market is hotter than ever, and collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade examples. And here's the kicker: sometimes these coins pop up in pocket change. Someone empties an old drawer, cashes in a jar of quarters, and boom, a treasure slips back into circulation. Alright, story time. A couple years ago, I stopped by this sketchy gas station off the highway. You know the kind. Flickering lights, mystery meat on the roller grill, and a cashier who looked like he hadn't slept since 1992. I was starving, so I grabbed a slice of pizza, and I used the word pizza loosely, and when I went to pay, I just handed over a few coins from my car's cup holder. Nothing special, but something made me stop. One of the quarters had this unusually sharp design. It was shiny. Way shinier than the others. I squinted. 1994, and a little P mint mark. Now, I'm not saying it was the coin. But I sure didn't spend it. I put that bad boy in a plastic sleeve and took it home. Later I had it looked at. Turns out it was in way better condition than your average quarter, though not $1 million level. Still worth a few $100. Moral of the story? Always check your change even when you're craving gas station pizza. The 1994 P. Washington quarter might look like your run-of-the-mill pocket change, but under the right conditions, it could be worth a fortune. That means every time you get change back from the store, every time you find a quarter in your couch cushions or under your car seat, you could be holding gold. Well, not actual gold, but $1 million piece of metal, and that's close enough. And if you're just now realizing you've got a whole tub of quarters you haven't looked through in decades, congratulations. You've got some treasure hunting to do before you go diving into your change jar, though. Do me a quick favor. If you enjoyed this video, learned something new, or just had a good laugh at my gas station pizza misadventures, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more videos coming up on coins that are worth serious money, along with strategies to grow your collection, spot rare varieties, and maybe even make some cash on the side. This isn't just collecting, it's a treasure hunt, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Until next time, check your change, check it twice, and never underestimate the power of a shiny little quarter. Hey folks, quick question for you. When's the last time you checked the change rattling around in your couch cushions? If your answer was never or who does that anymore, well, buckle up. Because today, we're talking about one of the most jaw-dropping finds in modern coin collecting history. That's right, the 1989 P. Washington quarter that's worth a mind-blowing $1.3 million. Yep. You heard that right. A quarter. 25 cents. Worth more than a Lumbo, a lake house, and every cheeseburger you've ever eaten, combined. Stick with me, because this episode is going to change the way you look at pocket change forever. And now, before we get into the juicy details of why this little metal beauty is worth more than some people's retirement funds, let me tell you a quick story. So last summer, I'm cleaning out the garage, which is basically where my old junk goes to retire. You know the place. Boxes of cords for devices you don't even own anymore, a lawn chair from 1993 that collapses if you breathe on it, and of course, a dusty old jar of change that's been sitting there since Blockbuster was a thing. Out of curiosity, I dumped the coins out on the workbench. Nothing fancy at first. A few nickels, a suspiciously sticky dime, and then bam, a 1989 quarter. Now, most people would toss that in a parking meter and move on. But me? I've read the blogs, I've watched the auctions, I've had dreams about rare quarters. So I give it a closer look. And friends, I nearly dropped the thing into the dog's water bowl. And now, my coin wasn't the $1 million baby. But it got me curious. I started digging. And that brings us to the star of today's show, the 1989 P. Washington quarter that made headlines in the numismatic world for its eye-watering value. The 1989 P quarter comes from the Philadelphia Mint, hence the little P under George Washington's ponytail. That year, over 512 million quarters were struck at that mint. That's a whole lot of Washingtons. So what made this particular coin stand out? It's not just age. And no, it's not made of gold or platinum. It's still copper nickel clad just like your everyday quarter. But it's all about the details and the errors. Now, the $1 million version of this quarter is valuable for a few reasons. First, minting errors. We're talking about a rare misstrike, a coin that was struck off-center or had a double die error, where the design is accidentally stamped twice. These things are like typos from the mint, and collectors lose their minds over them. It's like finding a baseball card with the player's name spelled wrong, but worth the price of a Ferrari a second. The coin in question was in pristine condition. We're talking about something called MS68 or higher. That's coinspeak for mint state, meaning it looks like it just rolled off the press yesterday. No scratches. No fingerprints. No signs that someone used it to scrape ice off their windshield. Just pure, shiny perfection. And third, rarity plus demand. Even among 1989 P quarters, there's only one or two in this condition with this specific error. That makes it the holy grail for serious collectors. Think of it as the LeBron rookie card of quarters. The jaw-dropper came when one of these rare 1989 P quarters hit the auction block and sold for, wait for it, $1.3 million. That's more than some folks pay for their first house. For one little coin. It's like flipping a quarter and landing on heads, with the head wearing a diamond crown. The person who found it originally got it in pocket change. From a gas station, imagine stopping for beef jerky and a soda, and walking out with a quarter that could buy you a yacht. Talk about a lucky pit stop. Okay, so now you're probably eyeballing every quarter you've ever touched. That's good. Because here's what you need to keep an eye out for: look for the 1989p mark, inspect for any double stamping or off-center strike, shine a flashlight on it and check the condition. The less wear, the better. If it looks odd or unusually perfect, it's time to break out a magnifying glass or hit up a local coin expert. Don have a magnifying glass? Don't worry, neither did I. I used my phone camera zoomed in, which led to a very blurry photo and a lot of wishful thinking. But hey, it's a start, and if you're really serious, get your coin graded. There are professional grading services like PCGS and NGC that'll give your coin an official grade, which helps determine its value. Look, you might not find $1 million quarter tomorrow. Or ever. But here's the thing: coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the hunt. The excitement. The stories. The history. Each coin is like a tiny time capsule. Some of them have been to more places than I have. Some have survived wars, recessions, sock drawers, and yes, the garbage disposal. You don't have to be rich to get started. Just pay attention. Look at your change. Go through that old jar. Ask your grandma if she's got any coins stashed away. She might just hand you a treasure without even knowing it, that your change jar might be hiding a coin worth more than a Lamborghini. That errors can be valuable, which, let's face it, gives all of us a little hope. And that sometimes, just sometimes, a humble little 1989p quarter can turn your world upside down. Now, before you sprint to check under the car seats, do me one favor: hit that subscribe button, seriously. I drop new videos every week about coins that could be worth money, tips for finding them, and stories from fellow collectors who hit the jackpot. Whether you're in it for the cash or just love the thrill of the hunt, you'll want to stick around, and hey, drop a comment if you've ever found something wild in your change. I want to hear those stories. Alright, coin hunters. Go check your pockets, dig through the sofa, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find that $1 million quarter. Alright, now picture this. You're digging in your car's cup holder for parking change, right? You pull out a dusty handful of quarters, and one of them, just one, could be worth more than your house. And not just any house. I'm talking a Beachview, 5-bedroom, fully loaded, real estate dream house. Yup, you heard that right. One plain-looking 1988p Washington quarter could rake in a cool $1.5 million in today's market. That's a lot of cheeseburgers, folks. So before you toss that next quarter into a vending machine for a stale granola bar, maybe, just maybe, give it a second look. Today, we're diving into the wild story of the 1988p Washington quarter dollar. We're gonna cover what makes it valuable, what to look for, how it got so rare, and yes, I'll even tell you about the time I thought I struck it rich, but ended up with a Canadian quarter instead. So grab your coin jar, dust off those reading glasses, and let's figure out if you've been walking around with a mini fortune in your pocket this whole time. Let's start with the basics. This quarter was minted in Philadelphia back in 1988. Nothing crazy, right? They made hundreds of millions of these things. But here's the twist: not all quarters are created equal. There's one version of this 1988p quarter that has collectors drooling and bidding like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. This special coin is so rare, so flawless, and has such a unique error or condition, we'll get into that in a second, that it commands up to $1.5 million in top-tier coin auctions. Not bad for something that originally cost 25 cents. Now you might be wondering, why would anyone pay that kind of money for a quarter? Well, welcome to the magical land of numismatics, where people will pay small fortunes for a shiny metal disc because of how rare it is, how it was made, or what went wrong when it was struck. So what are you supposed to look for? First, it's got to have that little P mint mark. That means it came out of the Philadelphia Mint. You'll find that letter just to the right of Washington's ponytail. If it's not there, or if it says D or S, sorry buddy, wrong quarter. Move along. Second, condition is everything. We're not talking about a coin that looks like it's been on a cross-country road trip in a sock. We're talking mint state condition. Think fresh off the press, untouched, crisp details, strong luster, not even a fingerprint smudge, but the real golden goose? That's where it gets spicy. The most valuable version of this quarter has a rare die error. That's when something funky happens during the minting process, like a misaligned die, double strike, or a planchet issue. It's basically like finding a misprinted baseball card or a factory error comic book. Imagine finding one with double die outbursts. That's where parts of the image look doubled. On the 1988 P quarter, you'd want to check around Washington's eye, his nose, or the word liberty. If it looks like George is seeing double, that's a good sign for your wallet, okay? Story time. So a few years back, I got it in my head that I was going to find $1 million coin. I told my wife I was quitting TV for a week to go through every coin we owned. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. I sat at the kitchen table like a mad scientist. I had a magnifying glass, gloves, a flashlight, and 3 cups of gas station coffee in me. I was ready. Hours went by, and then I found it. A shiny 1988 P quarter. Perfect mint mark. Sharp detail. No scratches. My heart was racing like I'd just run a marathon. I triple-checked it with online photos, and it looked exactly like the rare ones listed. I ran to show it to a coin dealer buddy of mine. He squints, flips it, and goes, "Nice coin. Too bad it's got post-mint damage." My dreams died faster than my houseplants. Turns out, someone had used it in a washer and the spin cycle gave it a weird shimmer. Not rare. Just soap scum. But hey, I still have that coin. It's taped to my fridge as a reminder to stay hopeful and always check my change. Let's talk real money now. This rare 1988 P quarter in pristine, mint condition has sold in the past for $1.5 million. Now obviously, not every single 1988 P is gonna pull that number. But if you've got one with those rare traits, especially with a verified error, you're sitting on a pile of cash bigger than a Thanksgiving plate. Even lower grade versions of this coin with minor errors or excellent condition can fetch hundreds, even thousands of bucks. There was one auction where a near perfect one, just shy of mint state 70, went for over 50 grand. Collectors go bananas over these because the supply is almost non-existent. It's like trying to find an unopened bottle of soda from the 1950s, they're just not out there anymore, alright? So let's say you check your change tonight and your heart skips a beat, you see that P mark, you see a shine, and you think you've got the treasure. What now? First step, don't clean the coin. I repeat, don't scrub it with toothpaste or give it a bath. That can ruin the value faster than a sneeze at a coin show. Second step, grab a magnifier and look for any errors. Check online references, compare photos, look for doubling, odd textures, or off-center strikes. Next, get a second opinion. Find a local coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify the coin's condition and authenticity. That's the golden ticket. Once it's graded, you'll know what it's worth, and if you're lucky, maybe you'll get that $1 million payday. So, here's the takeaway: that little 1988 P quarter rattling around in your junk drawer? It might be the key to a whole new life. A rare error, mint condition, and some good luck could turn that 25 cents into $1.5 million. It's like playing the lottery, only instead of scratching a ticket, you're digging through laundry change. And hey, even if you don't find the jackpot coin, it's still a fun hobby. You never know what you'll discover, plus, it gives you a great excuse to avoid mowing the lawn for a few hours. Sorry honey, can't do it, I'm treasure hunting. Before you go sprinting to your couch cushions or prying open that dusty piggy bank, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right down there. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies coming your way, and you don't want to miss them. We'll be talking about coins worth thousands, coins you can find in pocket change, and even coins that got famous for the weirdest reasons. Trust me, this rabbit hole is deep and full of buried treasure. So keep those eyes peeled, your quarters clean, and your dreams big. Who knows, the next time you reach for a soda, that quarter might just change your life. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever fished through your change jar and thought, man, this is just a bunch of junk? Well, what if I told you that hiding in that so-called junk could be a 25-cent coin worth $1.7 million? Yeah, you heard that right. One little quarter. Just 25 cents. Worth more than some people's entire houses. This isn't a prank. We're talking about the 1978 D Washington quarter, a coin minted in Denver that's turning heads in the coin collecting world. And the kicker? It might be hiding in your car cup holder right now. So stick around because today, we're going deep, and I mean deep, into what makes this coin so insanely valuable, what to look for, and how you could be the next lucky person to strike it rich just by checking your spare change. I'll throw in a personal story that's equal parts embarrassing and amazing, and we'll keep this fun, informative, and real all the way through. Alright, let's set the stage. The 1978 D Washington quarter. Minted in Denver, that's what the D stands for. It's part of the classic Washington quarter series that ran from 1932 to 1998 before the state quarters came along and flipped the game. Now, in 1978, the U.S. Mint produced over 287 million of these quarters in Denver. So at first glance, you're thinking, that's a ton. How could any of them be rare? Well, that's a great question. And I'll tell you, rarity is just part of the story. It comes down to a few factors. First, condition. The $1 million versions of this coin are in pristine condition. We're talking about coins graded MS68 and above. MS stands for mint state, and the scale goes from 1 to 70. So imagine a coin that's been around since disco was still cool, and it still looks like it just came off the press yesterday. That's rare. Some of these 1978 D quarters have minting mistakes. These include things like double dies, off-center strikes, or even planchet errors where the coin is struck on the wrong metal. When that happens and the coin is in great shape? Jackpot, finally, there's demand. High-grade collectors go wild for ultra-rare modern coins. They want the best of the best. And when one of these unicorns pops up, a bidding war starts, and that's how you end up with a quarter being sold for $1.7 million. If you find a 1978 D Washington quarter, here's what you need to check first: the mint mark. Make sure it's a D, right below Washington's ponytail. Or just squint like you're 85 years old like I do, and look for doubling on the letters or numbers, and of course, weigh the coin. If it feels off or the scale tells you it's heavier or lighter than the usual 5.67 grams, that could mean a planchet error. When in doubt, take it to a professional. A coin grading service can tell you if you're sitting on a gold mine or just a glorified laundry token. Now let me hit you with a personal story. About 5 years ago, I was helping my cousin clean out his garage. You know how garages are: dusty, full of stuff nobody wants to deal with. He had a jar of coins, and he said, "You want these?" I was just gonna toss them. Now, of course I said yes. I mean, who throws away money? So I took them home, poured a cold drink, and started digging through the jar. I'm flipping coins, having a good time, and I pull out a 1978 D quarter. My eyes lit up like I just found buried treasure. It had a scratch straight across Washington's face. A deep one. Like someone used it to open a can of paint. I was this close to greatness, but that scratch killed the value. Still, it taught me a valuable lesson. Even if it looks common, every coin deserves a second look. That one quarter made me a lifelong change checker. I inspect every quarter now like it's an audition for America's Got Talent. First things first, don't clean it. That's rule number 1. I don't care if it's covered in peanut butter and mystery goo, leave it alone. Cleaning a coin destroys its value. Store it in a coin flip or a protective case. You can buy those online for cheap. Keep it somewhere safe and dry. No sock drawers or glove compartments, and if it looks like it might be the real deal, send it to a grading service. PCGS or NGC are the big names. A good grade from them? That's your ticket to the $1 million club. Coin collecting is more than a hobby now. It's a serious investment world. People are buying coins like other folks buy stocks or real estate. Because rare coins? They don't lose value the same way. In fact, they usually go up. Some collectors are ultra competitive. If there are only 2 known perfect 1978 D quarters out there, and one goes up for auction, they're ready to go full WWE at the auction house to get it. And with the popularity of online auctions, more eyes are on these sales than ever before. So yeah, this market is hot. Let's wrap up with a few quick tips to boost your chances of finding a valuable 1978 D or any coin worth money. Check your change daily. Yes, every day. You never know what might slip through. Go to local banks and ask for rolls of quarters. It's like buying a lottery ticket, but with guaranteed face value. Hit up garage sales and flea markets. Coin jars and old piggy banks are treasure chests just waiting to be opened. Use the coin app to cross-reference anything that looks suspiciously special. Be patient. It takes time. But the thrill? Oh man, it's worth it. Alright, folks, if you've made it this far, you're officially part of the coin hunting family. The 1978 D Washington quarter isn't just pocket change anymore, it's a potential jackpot. All it takes is one lucky find, one careful look, and maybe just a little bit of patience. I hope you'll take what you learned today, go grab the dusty old jar of coins, and start flipping quarters like you're searching for buried treasure. Because who knows, your next find could be the next $1 million coin. And hey, if you liked hanging out, had a few laughs, and learned something new, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and stick around for more tips, tricks, and strategies on coins that are secretly worth a fortune. Your couch cushions might just be the next gold mine. Hey there, folks. Let me ask you something. Have you ever picked up an old quarter, looked at it, and thought, this thing's barely worth 25 cents anymore? Well, what if I told you one of those dusty old coins in your change jar could be worth $1 million? Yep, that's right. $1 million. For a quarter. A 1965 no-mint Mark Washington quarter, to be exact. Now before you go flipping over your couch cushions like a madman, hang tight. I'm gonna walk you through what makes this coin so valuable, how to spot one, and why it's turning heads in the collector world today. Trust me, this isn't your grandma's coin collection story. This is the real deal. Now let me tell you a quick story that's gonna make this whole thing even crazier. So about 5 years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know, one of those classic Saturday projects that starts with "it'll only take an hour" and ends with you eating a cold slice of pizza on top of a dusty lawnmower. Anyway, we stumbled across this old Folgers coffee can full of coins. And you know how it is, you hear coins rattling around and you figure it's just lunch money. But being the curious coin nerd I am, I dumped it out and started looking. Lo and behold, I picked up a 1965 quarter that just felt different. Shinier. Heavier. Something was off. I didn't think much of it until months later when I finally had it checked out and found out it was worth more than my car at the time. And that car had a working radio. So yeah, not a bad find. And now that I've got your attention, let's get into the nuts and bolts of why this specific coin is turning regular folks into millionaires overnight. So here's the deal. In 1965, the US Mint made a major change. Up until that year, quarters were made of 90% silver. But silver prices were skyrocketing and the government decided it was too expensive to keep making coins out of the good stuff. So in '65, they switched to a clad composition, copper sandwiched between layers of nickel. Here's where it gets juicy. During that transition, a few 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets, the leftover blanks from 1964. That little boo-boo is worth serious money today. We're talking up to $1 million if the condition is right. You know it's bad when a mint mistake turns out to be better than the original plan. Alright, grab your reading glasses and maybe a flashlight. Here's what to look for. First, check the edge. A regular 1965 clad quarter will have a visible copper stripe along the edge. But if you've got one that looks silver all the way around, you might be in business. Second, weigh it. Regular 1965 quarters weigh about 5.67 grams. But if you've got one of those rare silver planchet mistakes, it'll weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That tiny difference? That's your ticket to the big leagues. And now, don't go throwing your quarters at a kitchen scale. Use a precise jeweler's scale or take it to a local coin shop. Those folks live for this stuff. And finally, listen to the sound. Silver coins make this sweet little ringing noise when you drop them on a hard surface. Clad coins? They sound more like a sad little thunk. It's not exactly scientific, but hey, sometimes your ears know best. Now let's talk numbers, because I know some of y'all are here for the cash. A regular 1965 quarter in average condition? Not worth more than face value. Maybe $1 or $2 if it's in really nice shape. But those ultra-rare silver planchet errors? Those can fetch 6 figures easily. And if it's in top-notch condition, mint state, uncirculated, beautiful luster, you could be staring down $1 million payday. Collectors are hungry for these. There was one that sold for nearly $1 million at auction because it had everything going for it. Silver planchet, perfect strike, pristine condition. It was like the unicorn of quarters. I mean, think about it. Someone out there traded that coin for a gumball once. And now it's in a display case behind velvet ropes. Alright, now you might be asking, why doesn't it have a mint mark? Good question. Back in '65, the mint actually removed mint marks from all coins for a few years to discourage collectors from hoarding them. They were trying to keep coins in circulation. Ironically, that move made things even more collectible today. Go figure. So if your 1965 quarter doesn't have a mint mark, That's completely normal. But it's still an important detail to know when identifying the real deal. Just don't go freaking out thinking it's an error. It's not. But combine that with silver and bingo, you've got something special. And now listen up, because where there's money, there's always someone trying to cheat the system. There are a lot of fake silver 1965 quarters floating around. Some folks will plate a regular clad coin with silver to make it look legit. Others might try to shave a coin's edge to hide the copper core. It's shady stuff. Your best defense is knowledge. Know the weight. Know the look. Get familiar with what the real one should sound like and feel like. And if you find something suspicious, get it professionally graded. A certified coin grading service can tell you in minutes if you're holding treasure or trash. Let me tell you another quick story. A friend of mine, big-time flea market guy, calls me up one day and says he found an old coin box at a garage sale. Paid $5 for it. Brings it over, all excited. We start going through it, and bam, there's a shiny 1965 quarter that looks almost too good to be true. No copper edge. He's already picking out new rims for his truck, but we weigh it, and it's off. Way too light. Turns out it had been plated. Someone tried to pass it off as silver. Heartbreaking. I had to be the one to tell him, and he took it like a champ. Said, well, at least I still got the box. That's the game, though. Sometimes you win big. Sometimes you learn a lesson. But the thrill of the hunt? That never gets old. So there you have it, folks. That humble 1965 quarter sitting in your junk drawer could be the key to $1 million payday. You just gotta know what to look for. Check the edge, weigh the coin, listen to the ring, and if you think you've got something special, get it checked out. You don't want to be the guy who spends a fortune on lottery tickets while ignoring a fortune hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Tap that like. Share this video with your buddy who still carries loose change in his pockets like it's 1993. I'm here every week dropping tips, strategies, and stories about coins that could change your life. You don't want to miss what's coming next. So keep your eyes open, keep digging through that spare change, and remember, your next big payday could be just one quarter away.